What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Side Conversations podcast. It's me, of course, Kevin Deanda here, and today I am riding solo. Yes, it's going to be a little bit of a decent sized episode, due to quarantine week 2. Officially 2 weeks on quarantine. We're actually going to be tuning into people around the nation. We're going to talk to some of them, some people in California, some people in Wisconsin, some people, over on the east side and such. And we're going to get their viewpoint on what it's been like so far being quarantined and kind of being on lockdown. Once again, guys, thanks for tuning into the show, and let's get into it, all right? So our first guest, of course, is the boy, the one and only Jack Stowe. Let's call him up and see what he's doing. Yo, welcome to the show. You're live right now.
Hell yeah, brother.
How you been, brother? How are things going over there? Where you at right now?
Sunny San Diego, California, my dude.
Oh yeah, no doubt. How's that been going so far?
Hey, I really liked Corona before. I'm not liking it as much now.
Right, it's definitely got a bit of a negative connotation around it now so far. So are you guys currently on lockdown over in California?
Yes and no. So the state of California is... the biggest thing is, obviously, you've heard the essential personnel lingo.
Right.
That rings true for the military specifically because we're all special. So the entire military is essentially an essential force. So they make everybody show up to work. However, if they have any suspicion whatsoever that you are exposed to it in any way, shape, or form, then you're automatic, like self-quarantine / quarantine for X amount of days, usually 14.
Right. And these are pretty big, strict rules due to the fact that you're on a military installation, right?
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean,
yeah.
I already had to check in with a medical officer like 3 times, and I'm not even actually quarantined. Like, they were just like...
So this is really just because, what was the reason behind that they're looking into you?
Well, so I was at a course, and basically somebody... the course that I was at, 2 other classes there at the same time, and one of the other classes that we didn't even come in contact with had a positive case.
Oh, wow. So
yeah.
Actually somebody who you were at least, I wouldn't say around, but just at least within the general vicinity.
Yeah, within.
He got the got, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he got pretty good.
He got the Rona.
Yeah, he fat with the Rona. So basically what happened, yeah, they said he popped, and basically when I came back to my command, they were like, hey, take a 72-hour quarantine just to check to see if you have symptoms. And then at the end of that, obviously, like, I'm feeling fine. I haven't had any symptoms. But I told them, I was like, hey, like, I'm good. And they were like, yeah, so we changed. We're going to have you stay on quarantine for like another week and a half.
Wow, just another whole week. Why?
Just because they're scared, man. I think, and that sounds kind of crappy to say about somebody, but I think they really are genuinely, like, scared about it spreading this much, and they're
of course. I mean, at this point, dude, it's spreading like wildfire. Everybody who's famous has it. Everybody, anybody who's anybody has it. And at this point, it almost feels like it's not cool to not have it.
Yeah, and it's partially due also just because the amount of tests that are coming out that can actually decipher whether or not you have the coronavirus. Like, you realize all these celebrities are coming out and saying that they have the coronavirus. It's probably because they have access to these tests.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, they're limiting tests right now. Nationwide, people are trying to get tested, but they're very selective over who gets tested. What happens, and how that situation's handled. So I mean, you've had confirmed cases in California, yes, and have you had any confirmed on your installation? No need to say where you're actually stationed, but
Yeah, we had I want to say we had like 2 when it first, like, I remember it seemed like things changed by the hour. Like, I remember this was like maybe 2 weeks ago. They were like, oh crap, like it's in the States, blah blah blah, and then there was like, oh yeah, there's one in California, and then before we knew it, there were 2 on my installation.
Oh wow, and then it just automatically started spreading, huh?
Yeah, within like 2 or 3 days. So it spread super quickly. I want to say we had like probably total on my installation. I want to say we probably have like at least 5 or 6.
Wow. And I mean so the way we deal with stuff, at least out here in the civilian world, I mean, we take them to the hospital. We get the whole quarantine thing stood up. From a military perspective, do you think that the way they're doing things is different than how we're handling business out here? Or do you think, like, is it a bit more extreme, or, like...
It's pretty severe, man. So keep in mind, our installation was also one of the ones that had the initial flights back from Wuhan.
Right.
So they had all the flights come in with 50 to 100 passengers at a time, and they would quarantine weeks. And they took like the whole on base hotel, and they put a chain link fence around it, covered it up, and basically made that a quarantine. And then they did the same thing for the actual Marines on the base. They put them in basically an on-base housing thing, and they shut that thing down. Put a fence.
Wow, a whole thing, huh?
Dude, they have armed guards, the whole night.
I mean, I guess I can somewhat understand it coming from a military perspective. It's like, hey, one thing we cannot have compromised is our military, So I could totally understand where they're coming from, at least in that perspective.
If you infect an entire installation,
yeah, we can't. You just cannot have an entire installation go down. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Wow. I mean, that's
I'm still under the assumption that a majority of us, well, I say majority, a vast population of us have already had it. I truly believe that.
Wait. So you're saying that most people have already had it? We just haven't been tested, or we've had it and it's passed and it's gone?
Exactly. Well, so from what I understand is that there's a mass population from all these. I don't have sources. I don't have.
This is strictly what you've just seen.
Yeah, because I've been sitting in my room all day, so all I do is watch videos about them. So
definitely.
But I've been watching these videos, and they've been saying because obviously they've been saying a third of the population that they think have the coronavirus show no symptoms at all.
Yeah, they're asymptomatic. That's been a very big thing is being asymptomatic, and that's how people are believing it's spreading so much faster. It's because nobody's showing any signs.
Exactly. I mean, we could sit in the same room together, and I could be asymptomatic, and then you could be sick a week later.
Yeah, that's very true. Like sick as a dog too, where I'm just, I just acquire that, those germs, and then it takes over, my body. And a lot of NBA players, athletes are mostly the ones showing as asymptomatic. So I'm kind of wondering if being asymptomatic is just due to age and your immune system and stuff, or, if it comes down to how old you are or what really compromises people's, immune system and stuff. But I mean, as this goes on, as it continues, and you obviously, ladies, being a single man, of course, like yourself, how do you think quarantine has affected you so far, in terms of just, hey, can't do anything, can't be out doing my regular thing. What have you learned either about yourself or learned that you like since this quarantine has happened?
Honestly, man, the biggest thing is, and I joked about this a couple weeks ago, for the first time, and maybe this is just a California thing, for the first time, people have been keeping their space.
Right.
And not getting within 6 inches of somebody else, in the grocery store.
Definitely.
Which I think is a good practice anyway. I don't genuinely
personal space. That's what it is.
I go out of my way to not walk right next to somebody.
Yes, definitely.
But I mean, more than anything, man, it's just use common sense, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with you going out and going for a run or going for a walk, but I wouldn't stop and shake hands and hug people.
So you're going out and exercising still?
Yeah, I'll still go out and exercise, but
okay,
I
that's good.
I don't do it in a group. I don't do it with other people. I'll go out on my own, towards the evening when nobody else is really out.
Yeah.
And go do the thing, man. I think that's the biggest thing. Keep your immune system hot and just keep doing what you can do.
Definitely. So, I mean, as of late, just kind of being in this slight isolation, do you have tips for anybody else who you think might be just kind of struggling with the quarantine as of so far?
Again, just stay active, man.
Definitely.
It's hard, especially if you are actually quarantined.
Oh, legitimate quarantine?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple sides of the coin, right? If you're self-quarantined and you're not in a lockdown facility, get outside. Don't get around a bunch of people, but get outside and go feel the sun and don't get the cabin fever. If you're in the quarantine, you kind of just got to embrace the suck.
Definitely.
It's not going to be You're not going to enjoy it. You're going to get cabin fever. Stay active, do push-ups, do sit-ups, do crunches, do whatever you got to do to keep your mind off of it. But like, if you just sit there and just get even more numbed in the mind by just watching TV all day and doing nothing, like, you're going to hate.
Yeah, this is definitely like the time to get your fitness goals on right now. Everyone needs to be an Instagram model by the time this is finished. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying, you don't have abs by the end of this. Like, you done messed up, Aaron. I'm saying.
Yeah. You need to be shredded by the time this is over with.
Straight up prison workouts.
Yeah, just a whole 10-pack. That's what I need to see. Everybody. I want the whole world to just be ripped. Like a bunch of ripped people walking around.
Not like you're going to McDonald's 3 times a day anyway, so just enjoy the...
That's true. That's true. And seeing that, we all know that you're obsessed with McDonald's. So how has not eating McDonald's for like the past few weeks been affecting you?
I've dropped body fat, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I tell this man every day, every time I talk to him, and we talk a lot, he's always got like a McDouble in his hand. It's disgusting.
Hey man, you gotta feed the beast.
Yeah, man, that's it. That is it right there. Well, I mean, we're gonna be jumping around from person to person, but this is like the only time I get to like, really talk to you, and then now that we're kind of doing this over the phone just due to certain circumstances, other than the fact that you're stationed on the other side of the country. It's always good to have you on, man. We're gonna be jumping and getting some other people's perspective, so we're gonna be moving on here soon. But it's good to see what that somebody, and at least personnel in our military are acting accordingly and staying safe and making sure they're good, so we, the American people, know we're not compromised. So from me to you and everybody else who like listens to the show, man, thank you so much for doing what you're doing over there. Appreciate all the hard work, keep it up, and make sure if a PFC is touching his face, you send him halfway across the moon. You know what I'm talking about?
Hey, I appreciate you, bro. Stay hard, man.
Yeah,
Stay hard.
Of course. All right, guys. Well, thank you, Jack. Thank you so much for calling in. Everybody, we're going to move on to our next caller. All right, I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Take it easy.
All right, brother. Bye. Well, there's our first caller, the boy Jack Stowe. You can find him at _Jack Stowe_ on Instagram. Check him out. That's the homie right there. Awesome. So for our next guest, we're actually going to go from back across the country, and we're going to bring it back to across the street. This is a very familiar voice, a very familiar face. A lot of you guys know. I can't show his face, obviously, but you guys will know his voice. So without further introduction, let's get our next guest on the phone.
What's going on, man?
What's going on, Grayson? How you doing today, brother? Sorry I'm calling a little bit earlier. Our calls didn't last as long as I thought it would.
No, you're good, man. Am I on the show?
You are. You're live right now. Say what's up to everybody.
Does this mean I made it?
You're officially famous. This is what it's like. We're at the top now.
Give me my clout.
So, you are definitely a regular on the show. You're here all the time. But due to certain circumstances, obviously, we wanted to do Quarantine Part 2, but with the stay-at-home order and the way things have been working, we haven't been able to do that. I just spoke to someone who was in California, and now being able to talk to somebody about even how different it is when you're just down the road. What do you think has changed since the last time we've seen each other, at least in the city and the state that we're presently in?
Well, the biggest issue, I would say right off the bat, is the information coming in about the virus itself and the severity.
Yeah, it's definitely like kicked up a bit, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and because of the information that is out there, I think that's really what's affecting all this legislation. But I know for a fact here, I came home from my family's house last night around midnight.
Yes.
And, I spent the whole day over there just seeing the kiddos and everybody and, hanging out and just watching movies. And on the way back, I had to think to myself in the car for about 5 minutes before I got going, what am I going to say if I get pulled over? Should I take the highway? Should I take other roads?
Right.
If I'm on the highway and no one else is on the highway, it'll be easier to get pulled over because they are doing that now. And
they're pulling people over, really. I haven't been out in a minute.
Yeah, no. So I have a fun fact for you. Yesterday, I was given this information. I vetted it, and just in Dallas County, 1,400 citations have been issued for people being out and about, not going to necessary locations.
Really?
Just in Dallas County in the last 2 days, 1,400
Wow.
citations.
Look at
And that was
that.
as of yesterday. So that's 700 people a day in this county
Yeah.
getting pulled over and
So
just getting checked.
yeah, so I mean, like legislation itself has definitely kind of taken the strong arm towards making sure people stay in their homes, wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah. Well, and they just deployed 2,200 National Guardsmen to Dallas, to the
No
city
way.
of Dallas.
No way.
They did yesterday. They did that yesterday.
This is news to me. Oh my God.
And
this is news to me.
For people who are out and about working, if you have to drive to work, for example, my father, he's a builder, so he drives through several subdivisions every day to make sure their houses are still getting done.
Right.
3 of his trades guys got pulled over and they got ticketed. And you have to have a letter. I don't know what the letter is. They get it through higher ups from the CDC and their departments and HR and all that. But you have to have a letter saying basically you are obligated to do what it is you're doing, being out and about for your work.
Yeah, you need to have actual like reasoning as to why you're out.
Yeah,
what is it now? It's only like working. It's work, food, groceries.
It's A to B. A being home, your legal residence, what's on your driver's license.
Yeah. And
then B being an essential business. So either clinic, vet, dentists are not included.
I saw a liquor store was listed. Are our liquor stores still open?
I have no idea. I know liquor stores are open for curbside. I just don't know if they're still open because that was 2 days ago. But I do know that grocery stores, restaurants, places like that can do curbside.
Okay, yeah, that's always good. Yeah.
Because these businesses still have to make money. So what I was looking up, I was reading an article on this morning, is that these places are having to pay for temporary licensing to prove that it's necessary that they stay open for business doing curbside and online orders and stuff like that. Because if they don't, by the time this is all over, there won't be a business anymore, and it's like 70-something% of this county's economy.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a major residential area.
We're definitely very heavily involved in like local shops and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's changed, man. It's like a very, very, very moderate version of martial law, and it's a slippery slope.
I could say the same thing, where it feels almost like it's there. But, we're not going to throw that label on it or enforce it to its entirety because, that's when things start getting a little weird, and, the American people, they might not like that too much. But speaking from, how things have changed, where do you think that since last episode till now, your mentality towards the situation has changed?
My mentality has gone to pure vigilance. And what I mean by that is this. I can't be out on the street now walking my dog without thinking to myself, if Chloe wasn't here, I could easily get a Class B misdemeanor right now.
Right.
And the other thing being, this isn't just an old person's disease anymore. Yes. I just drink information on this stuff on a daily basis because the reality is, aside from day-to-day things, there's nothing else worth talking about right now, and I need to be knowledgeable because I have people I care about.
Right, of course, and you want to make sure that the people you're around are okay, and you're not putting yourself at risk, because the second, we all know how germs work. There's cartoons about it. You got germs on this finger, you touch this finger, guess what? Now both fingers have germs, and that's just how easy they spread. So, when you're putting yourself at risk and you're constantly being out and you're doing all these things because you think it's like not that big of a deal or whatever. I mean, obviously, give or take, me and Grayson have made our fair share of COVID-19 jokes.
Yeah.
Corona but, cap. At the same time, we're not out, putting ourselves at risk or making ourselves a target for, either law enforcement or just being dumb and putting yourself at risk.
Well, and my main concern at this point is the overall mentality of the general populace. I was at a park 2 days ago. I was at a public park, and there were like 50 people there, kids, adults, teenagers, all grouped together on a playground, tennis court, basketball court, a field, and a squad car pulls into the parking lot and just doesn't light us up. He just goes, whoop, whoop. and just a quick little thing.
Yeah.
And everyone, adults, the kids, the teenager, everyone, like parents with their babies, like people took off over fences and literally just started running.
Like they were like, they had like kilos of cocaine on them.
Yeah,
but really...
man, the cop didn't even get out of his car. And I mean, I was there with my younger siblings and my girlfriend, and I was like, yeah, man, we're not doing all that. Of us. I'm sure we'll be fine. And my thought process is going to this. Trump just announced a couple days ago that he is doing a 15-day cold turkey thought process where at the end of the 15 days, he will decide executively whether or not we will continue mandating social distancing.
Definitely.
And the reason is because they said no matter what we do, the end result will be the same. The death toll, the infected number, that's not going to change. There's no way to mitigate that. They're just trying to slow down the rate at which that influxes and affects our healthcare system so it doesn't get overwhelmed.
Yeah, definitely.
So basically, they want everyone to get sick and everyone who's going to die to do it as slowly as possible so that we can manage it.
That sounds absolutely
and it's
terrible.
awful. But yeah, and what he said is the effect that it has on our economy will be far more lethal than the effect it'll have on our people if we continue to do what we're doing now. So in about
it's a very if he dies, he dies situation.
Yeah, exactly. And in about 2 weeks, President Trump is going to make a decision publicly during a press conference to tell us whether or not we are even going to have to. Man, we're talking gyms opening up. We're talking buses.
Businesses are gonna be flourishing because people are gonna be overbuying and being out a lot more.
Man, I literally had to go on Instagram today. There's not a place in the Metroplex that has a single set of dumbbells, and there's nothing on Amazon that's in stock. I looked at a set of dumbbells on Amazon, their bestseller. It said usually ships in 1 to 2 months.
Dude, I was trying to get just some like sneakers because I needed some new workout shoes, and I was like, I'm gonna be stuck inside. I might as well, get some more like athletic shoes so I can do like jumping, just jumping routines and stuff, and be on my feet, move around. And they were like, yeah, there's no way this is gonna show up. Like the screen basically said, you've got to be kidding me. Like, do you really think you're gonna get these? Like, it takes too long. Everything's bought out, So things are getting a little crazy. But so far, what is one piece of advice that you would give to someone who's currently in the exact same situation that we are in right now and who's tuning in?
I would definitely say find a physical outlet, a mental outlet, and then something recreational, like some sort of virtuous hobby, whether it's playing an instrument, playing video games. Just do something.
Definitely.
There's nothing wrong. Do something physical so you don't have to feel guilty about being a potato for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But being a potato can also involve reading or working on schoolwork. Or, man, we've got something, the greatest currency and the one thing you never get back. We've got time, and we've got nothing but it.
Yes.
So I'm spending a lot of time with the people I care about. That's what I'm doing. And a lot of time on school. As well as
6 feet apart from those people that you love.
Or maybe. But yeah, no, but what I'm saying is this could be a bad situation or it could be a character building situation. If you have money and you have the want, you could be getting personal training certifications right now. You could be getting certified in cybersecurity. You can be doing things
self-investment
to make sure
time.
We have a break that you will never have again, hopefully, or likely in your lifetime. We're talking months. This isn't going away.
Yeah.
So for the first time ever in our lives, we have a chance to just work on ourselves, and we have no choice but to do that.
Exactly.
So people can either sit around and complain and moan, or they can work on bettering themselves so that by the time this is over, they hit the ground running and they're even that much better.
Hey, that's what I like to hear, and that's some good advice. So I appreciate that. We're actually going to be moving on to our next state here soon. So thank you so much for coming onto the show and giving out some good words. And, I'm sure the people back home are happy to hear that, you're still alive and kicking.
Yeah, man. Thanks for calling me. I always love being on, man.
Yeah,
it's great to
for
participate.
Sure. Well, guys, you can find him at grizzlygray.fit. So make sure you check him out on Instagram. Sound good?
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, man. You stay safe.
All right, brother. You take care. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Dang. Can you believe that? They deployed National Guard into the city. How about that? It's getting there. All right, guys. So our next guest, he's an older guest that was on in the earlier parts. Not older as in like he's old. but as in he was in the older episodes. I'm sure you guys will remember him. His name's Michael Camacho. Good guy. He was a corpsman with the unit I was in when I was in the military. So we're going to call him up and get his whole take on this. And we're just going to see how life is going on the other side. Sound good? All right, let's check it out.
Hello?
Hello, Michael.
Kevin. How are you?
Good, brother. How you doing? You're live on the show.
All right, what's up, man?
How you been, man? How are things going?
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Just LIVIN.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, so you're still in North Carolina, correct?
Correct.
And this whole outbreak thing has definitely hindered some plans for you, so I've heard.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
What has taken place so far since this whole thing is kicked off for you right now?
So obviously with the whole stop movement order, my PCS orders were put on hold. And for like 48 hours after that, everyone just kind of was giving me the we don't know answer
Definitely.
on what I was going to be doing.
Of course.
And then finally, nav admin started coming out and more DOD guidance started coming out saying that, hey, your orders are going to be put on hold. And then, contact your detailers or monitors for you guys, right?
Right, definitely.
And freaking coordinate with them. So that's what we did. And I now am leaving in July if everything is cleared up by then.
Yes.
Big F.
And this is a move to go from country to country. We don't have to disclose the location, but this move was for you to basically wrap up all your stuff here in America and then move to a different country. Not to mention, with your family and be stationed there. And that whole thing has been put on hold just due to this whole outbreak.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, I don't know if anyone else out there knows this, but moving and leaving, your home, a house, and having to deal with either landlords, real estate agents, either selling the house, giving it back, packing, leaving your job, putting in a 2-week notice, or transferring out of schools for the young ones. I can only imagine that's a process in itself. So with that already being put on hold, how has that affected you guys?
So for probably 2 weeks, we were biting our nails because we had a pack out date. We already signed our notices to vacate the lease we're in right now.
Yes.
And they actually had a family right behind us that
getting ready
signed
to move
a lease to move in. Yeah.
Wow.
So for like a hot second, we were going to be without a house and we were just going to have to like hit an extended stay or something like that.
Definitely. Yeah.
And, obviously without guidance, we're just like, am I going to be able to use my travel card for this?
Yeah.
But we talked to the leasing office and they called the family and it just turned out that family they were breaking their apartment lease a couple months early to move in early. So we just asked them if they would, kindly stay put.
Yeah.
And
can you not?
Yeah. Could you please? And they were nice about it and they stayed. So we have a house. We haven't sold the cars yet. This happened at a good time for us. Unfortunately, for a lot of people that I've heard about, like their cars are already shipped overseas.
Yes, I can only imagine.
Goods are already packed up. So like we're very fortunate.
Definitely that you guys kind of y'all did the right thing by waiting just the right amount. But I mean that is also got to be. I mean this is detrimental because you guys had already made plans. Yeah, I would assume, and
Right.
So I guess kind of coping with that as I mean, not only does this whole outbreak thing give and take life, but I mean it's taking away opportunities. It's taking away time to do things that people had planned. And how have you been? You and the family kind of just been dealing with that lately?
So I've been taking it as it comes. As things shift, like for a little bit at the beginning, I was just like, all right, hey, this is just what we have to do.
Right.
But when it got a little closer to us almost having to lose this house and pack up the house and, still put stuff in storage, and it started getting a little hectic.
Right.
Because, while we were trying to move things, and I was just like, oh yeah, TML will pick up my trash and we'll be good. They'll throw it in storage for us. Well, with the stop order, TMO had to reach out to all their contracted, movers and tell them to stop too. So they're like, hey,
Really?
yeah, like TMO just told us to stand down. So this move that you're trying to do on Tuesday, and this was like a Thursday or Wednesday, they're like, this move you're trying to do next week, like you need to go to TMO and like get them to, clear us.
Yeah,
I was
seriously.
like, are you kidding me right now? So
That's unbelievable, man.
as I'm trying to track that down, I got the word that the family was going to let us stay, and I was like, all right, good. We don't need to move anything.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
Yeah, no, seriously.
I mean, I've been pushing through it.
I can only imagine it's a roller coaster
really
of emotion.
well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it's just so much emotions all in one, just this weird tumbling effect of getting information, losing information. This is what's happening. This is what's not what's happening.
Anxious. Very anxious.
Definitely. So, I mean, we've talked to some people in the state of Texas on the show already. We talked to someone in California. In North Carolina, what do you think has changed so far that you've seen, at least, now that we've kind of been on this whole, it's like the second week of the quarantine, the self-isolation or the social distancing, at least in the state, what do you see has changed the most?
I mean, me being all the way out in like the country right now, not too much, just less traffic. And I'm not even talking about on the streets, just less traffic anywhere, like grocery stores, less traffic,
Right, yeah.
It took about a week for people to get the whole social distancing thing. So
definitely. And
at the beginning, people were like right on top of each other. And like, even my family, I had to tell them, like, we're at the grocery store. I'm like, hey, just maybe don't put your stuff on the little belt until they're done paying, and we'll move in after that.
Yeah, and even like touching like produce and stuff, or just like grabbing it, like your mannerisms change and your actions and your thought process is totally different.
Right. Oh my dude, I had a little bit of a moment when I was trying to grab one of the grocery bags. You lick your finger and you take the bag and you like open it up.
Oh yeah, dude.
So like I'm sitting there just like rubbing my fingers together trying to get this bag open, and I'm like, don't lick your fingers. You will die. No. But
gives a whole new meaning to don't touch your face. So you're just like, okay, I'm not gonna do this.
No, I'm screwing that up all day. Like I can't help it.
And I mean, you are, if people remember you from the last episode, you're a corpsman, and you are the medical personnel. You are directly involved with people's health, and I mean, I can't imagine how your thought process. I mean, even the people who don't give too much care about the medical side and stuff, but being an expert on health, wellness, germs, all these things, and do you think that I can only imagine what goes through your head whenever you're around and like you're seeing everybody just be who they are? I can't imagine what's going through your head.
Well, okay. Well, let's go ahead and shine light on Marines right now. They are not understanding this shit. I'm laughing, but it's so annoying. Like we got a don't touch your face social distance order going on, and I walk out of my like building and I see people doing McMap. I'm like, that's not no, that's not a good thing. Or like another situation, they're doing two-hand touch football. I'm like, that is exactly what
this is literally exactly what they said. Not distant and don't touch each other. And it's like, okay, let's get close and touch each other. I cannot see like that. That must be insane. So are they, the health administration portion of like the military, and obviously you're in direct route with them. Are they really heightening up, security? I guess I would say about this whole virus. I spoke to another Marine on in California, and he said, it's kind of becoming that hardcore lockdown. And I said, just for the sake of not having the military base compromised, like having if all personnel had corona, we're sitting ducks, So I guess has it gotten a lot more strict? Are you way more into telling people to stop whatever they're doing immediately and enforcing like hard rules?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I'm not out there seeing people make map and like running across the grass and be like, hey, you stop that, I'm just like, Jesus Christ. What it is Marines take orders, right? There hasn't been like a direct from anybody saying you will not PT, you will not do corporal's course, where in corporal's course, everybody's like right next to each other, right?
Right, definitely. Yeah.
So there's not like everything is anything non-essential needs to stop. Well, corporal's course is part of my career, right? That's essential.
Yes.
Damn it, no. Like
Yeah, you know,
you
people
can put
are
a pause on that.
there's so many things. Like, I mean, when you think about the military, you automatically think essential. Then you got to remember there's essential out of the essential. So like not everybody has to be
Right.
doing everything at once. You know, these you know, I see, you know, all my military friends posting about, oh, why am I standing in formation? Like they got us in a
Right.
closed hangar bay talking about social distancing, and it's a
Jesus.
battalion of like 200, you know, personnel. I'm like, what's going on? What don't we get here?
Yeah.
You know, what are we
Yeah.
missing? You know?
Yeah, the only thing I would say that they've heightened up is, you know, just screening, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So at our clinics, we're just doing a lot better about trying to catch people before they even get in the clinic.
Right. So,
You know, so we've definitely bumped up those measures.
do you
We're
guys
catching
kind of
people
have
as
like,
they're coming back from their training, even within America, just making sure.
right?
So we're doing our part.
Do you guys have like like certain precautions, or is it like you're standing in the PX and you see a kid cough and you're like, hey, come with me?
We just take them out.
You just pull them out of the PX and then a gunshot goes off and you come back in. You're
Yeah.
like, all right, how much is this gonna be?
Yeah, I'll pay for your shit. No, it's not that bad. I mean, I think that kind of stuff people just need to relax a little bit.
Yeah,
And you know how the military is, that dark humor.
yeah.
Anybody sniffles and you're like, you got that Rona, like immediately.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things where I've heard this plenty of times. It's like, you know, if you don't laugh, you'll cry about it.
Of
Like,
course, yeah.
it's a serious thing. Like, I was definitely one of those people who were just like, listen, we can treat this with over-the-counter medications, but this thing's taken off and it's taken over random. It's not one demographic anymore. It's not just
course.
old people and very young people or underlying conditions. That's the majority of it, but young people are starting to get it now.
Yeah, definitely.
And
So it's no
It's
longer
been proven that this thing's like mutating. So it's serious. So people just need to stay their asses at home.
and that's real advice from a real doc. So if you guys are listening, you still think it's a game. This man is certified. He's telling you to stop doing all the dumb stuff you're probably doing right now while you're listening to the show. So please, just stop
Spring
doing
breakers,
it.
right?
Yeah, seriously. So, you know, being, you know, most of the people we've spoken to already on the show, at least on this episode, they've kind of been, you know, single, living by themselves. So as of, you know, from a family perspective, you know, how has that been, you know, keeping everyone sane and calm during this time and keeping them productive? You know, what is it like being in a family environment during this type of situation?
Well, I think, like you said, just staying active, staying busy, and then obviously with the child, you just kind of have to remind them not to do the normal things. Like
The kid stuff?
The kid stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, hey, don't rub your hands on literally everything.
Yes.
Or, hey, keep your hands to yourself when we go into the grocery store. And this was a week ago when we were still going as a family. I don't do that anymore. Like,
Oh,
it's
really?
just
You
me
guys
or
have
just the
stopped?
wife.
Really? You guys have just started doing like solo missions because y'all don't even want to be.
Yeah, minimal contact.
Yeah,
you know?
mitigate risk and stuff of. Yeah, I can see that. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
actually.
I'm not paranoid about the shit, but like, if we're gonna be smart about it, I'm just gonna try and like
Yes.
not bring the entire troop everywhere I go.
Of course, yeah, of course. And
So-
do you think that has affected, you know, I mean, emotionally, you know, you guys are starting to operate now without each other just due to like, I mean, obviously you go home. I mean, you're in quarantine with each
Yeah.
other, which is not bad, but I mean, that's got to take a little bit of a hit to the pride, you know, like knowing that, you know, you can't go out as a collective unit and like, you know, hang, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not too bad because last week we were kind of just hanging around the house. I mean, we cooked out, we hung out on the driveway, we cleaned up our garage a little bit more. Like,
you're getting
we're
that
still
time.
doing stuff together. Yeah,
That
it's
time.
It is kind of bringing us closer together, and
That's good.
I know I'm bringing up a meme, but I saw like, it was not even a meme. It was more of just like a screenshot of something. You know, completely different reality. We're in 2030 and someone's just like, what happened during the quarantine, grandpa? And like, we're telling this grandpa's telling all like the negative crap. And he's like, oh, I only remember doing puzzles with you and hanging out as a family and doing all these things that you don't normally do because you're either out and about or messing around with social media or something like that, right?
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
I mean, it's all how you take it. So we're trying to have Caitlin, my daughter, do more stuff outside,
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
And then we've been spending a lot of time outside more. So
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
everyone stay inside. It's like, you know what? Today's a great day to go outside.
Well, luckily we're out here in the country, so
Yeah,
it's not like
a lot of
I'm in an
space.
apartment
Yeah,
complex.
no
Yeah,
doubt.
like I have my entire backyard, the front yard. I live in a cul-de-sac, so
Yeah, I mean,
with
yeah,
that,
it's good. It's a good time. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad to hear that, the family's staying strong. You guys, especially with the situation that, has been, with COVID-19 definitely affecting the
right?
living situation and the orders, gosh, man, I can only imagine, that stuff, at least being put on pause. And I feel for you, but I'm really glad that you
Appreciate
guys
that.
and the family are getting closer and you're taking this time in a positive way. It's good to see. And, of course, it's always good to talk to the homies, like that's always
Absolutely.
been like a thing. I'm pretty sure you've gotten the longest segment on here, but it's always good to talk to the boys. So, but yeah, no, it's
Hell
also
yeah.
good to have like that medical input, So please listen, military personnel, if Doc says it, just do it. Please just do it. And then
We're touching each other.
yeah, quit doing all of this with the hands. Don't
Yeah.
don't I don't want to see any of that. All right. But yeah, there's some good advice from a family man, a medical man helping you guys out. Thank you so much for hopping onto the show, man. I really do appreciate the call. It's just good. I'm sure the people are excited to hear you too, So thank you so much for
Absolutely. I
coming on the show.
appreciate you having me, man.
Of course, man. Please tell the family I said hello, and I hope you guys are taking care. And if you need anything, just hit me up.
Likewise, brother.
All right, brother. Sounds good. I'll be talking to you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in.
All right, have a good
All
one.
right, appreciate it, brother.
Bye.
All right, guys, there you go. And then right now we're going to get up on our last guest, who is in the great state of Wisconsin.
Hello?
Hello, Codie. Welcome to the show, man. You're live right now.
Oh, wow. I'm live. Oh, wow. I'm trying to turn my TV off and everything.
Sorry about that. I called you a little bit early. We've been moving a little bit quicker through some of these guys. I mean, we're getting some really good coverage all around the nation so far. I wasn't able to get in contact with anybody, over the pond, which sucks because I would love to see what's going on. But what state are you in right now?
I'm in Wisconsin right now.
Wisconsin. Okay. So, I mean, in your part of Wisconsin, is it pretty active or is it pretty like rural, where it's just nobody's really out there?
It's pretty active still. Like, I live in the middle of the country where I'm at, but I'm like 20 minutes from town.
Okay.
So, like, when you get into town, it's still busy. There's still people walking their dogs and everything, all the normal stuff.
Really? So no one's kind of just like in that whole social distancing thing, or they're not too caught up on it, I would say?
Yeah, I would say they're not too caught up. I mean, like, some of the stores are, like hardware stores are, like, making you order online and then, like, pick it up. Like, you can't go in there and shop and everything.
Oh, yeah, I bet you they don't want you touching stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, how has it been for you at least, during this whole... I mean, have you been on, like, a quarantine? Like, you still going out, or what are you doing?
I'm mostly just staying at home. Like, I really only go in town for, like, essentials.
Definitely, yeah.
So I try to stay in the way as much as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, is it getting kind of you guys have a lot of confirmed cases over in Wisconsin. You guys have any like new rules, restrictions that have been going on in that state?
Not really. Well, we just finally got put into the Stay-at-Home Act on Wednesday. That it went in effect.
Oh wow! So you're still Oh buddy, it's only gonna get worse from here. I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being at home, it is just a total. I mean, at least for us, especially, I live in the city, and that's kind of like the. There's always all these things to do and whatever, but for you being kind of out in the country when there's normally nothing to do, and now there's really nothing to do. How has that affected you and your friends and like your just day-to-day life? Like, what's changed so far since?
Dude, I'm bored. I'm losing my mind. I feel like I'm on deployment again, honestly.
Yeah. I was telling a good friend of mine, I was like, man, it really does feel like I'm just on a ship again. And it just, I'm in one room. I see the same thing every single day. And if I do talk to somebody on FaceTime, it's probably the same person that I saw yesterday. And, it's definitely, starting to eat away at me, you know, slowly. You know, I'm still good,
Yeah.
you know, but I mean, I definitely feel you, man. You know, I mean, I'm not saying there's a lot of restriction already in the country, but you know, now with this forced restriction, I can only assume that it pushes you guys to not want to go out as much, you know?
Oh yeah, no. Because like I live with my grandparents too, so they're in their 70s.
Yeah,
So
definitely. You got to be extra careful, you know?
yeah, so I'm not having like people over at my house. I'm not going out places. Like if they need something, I go into town for them and get it for them.
Right, definitely. And you're still you're doing some I mean, you're definitely doing manual labor work, right? Or
Yeah.
you dive into the corporate world yet or no?
No, not yet. I'm doing construction for the family business still.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. It's a really good gig. How has that affected work? I mean, I can only imagine. At least down here, you know, it's definitely everything's been heavily restricted. You know, people don't want HVAC, you know, coming into their house. People don't want people setting up their cable. They don't want anyone near anything. How has this affected you so far?
It's affected us quite a bit. Like I was supposed to have a job up in Madison, and the state actually canceled our auction, so we
Wow.
weren't able to do any work.
And so you're just losing jobs because nobody wants
Yeah.
anybody anywhere.
Yeah,
And
and then our customers don't want to come pick their stuff up. When I was in North Carolina, I had a guy back out of on a $52,000 order.
dang, 52 G's on top, and he doesn't want to do it because he was like, you probably touched the check that and you touched a pen. I don't want it. Like, or
Yeah.
like, I don't want you in my vicinity, man. Yeah. And so far, I mean, have you felt the effects of that? Like, I mean, no work is never good, you know?
Yeah.
That's never a good thing. And now where it's not like the reason you're not working isn't because of you, you know, it's not because you have like no drive or anything. It's literally because people are like, we can't have you working, you know, we don't want you here working. That you know, that's very,
Yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that, brother.
Yeah, and it's like it's okay. Like I mean, I've been good with my money. I've been saving and everything because like
You hear that,
we'll go-
kids? Be financially smart like this guy right here. Save your money, but go ahead for times like this.
Yeah, for real. You never know when things like this are gonna happen.
Exactly, dude.
Came out of nowhere.
That's honestly, let me hit on that real quick. That's such a good point because when everything kind of like hit the fan and everything started going down, you know, like we even talked about, I was like, man, I feel like I'm underprepared. Like I don't have enough food. I don't have backup food. I don't like, where are my flashlights, my batteries, you know, like, do I need ammunition? Do I need, you know, all these things that made me realize. And I was like, okay, right now I'm going to make that change. I'm going to get what I need. And I did it through because of all the money I saved. I was able to, you know, like help myself out. So please, totally unrelated point to whatever this is. Save your money because it'll save your ass. But yeah, go on.
But like, see, like what you're talking about, like being ready. Like I don't understand, like why all these people are buying toilet paper and all this other weird stuff.
Yes, I've definitely I've hit on that before, and I just never understood like what
That's
is
one
the
thing that
point.
still confuses me. Like I don't understand it.
And I think it's just the media outlets, you know. But you know, and now totally understand. We are in two completely different places. I'm in the the bottom of the South, you know, where we're in the city. People are everywhere, you know. And then you take it up to where you're at, you know. I feel like the hysteria kind of dies down because not because of the situation, because there's not so many people there that'll get it twisted and start freaking out. Like at least in like smaller areas, the media is able to be like, hey, calm down. Things are fine. Yeah. But here in the city, man, I mean, places are getting torn up. Everyone's freaking out. The shelves are empty. Everyone's just, all off the chain.
Like on that, like I also think like a big part of it is social media.
Oh yeah, I can definitely say it's a huge advocate for the chaos that's going on right now.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
What was it, like 2008, 2009 when the swine flu came around? And it was deadly just like this too?
Yes.
And nothing was crazy like this.
Yeah,
happening.
we saw it on the news every day for like a few months, and then it went away.
Yeah.
And then,
no one's buying toilet paper, stocking up on everything.
Right. And then, but today, nowadays, we get a huge disease. Then, so obviously with the news, the older generation or whoever watches the news will see it, and then that trickles down into like the middle-aged people who like sort of watch the news, but they have play into social media and they post it. Then it gets down to like the teenage or like the young adults and the older teenagers who are like, man, this is kind of crazy. And then you get down to like the young teenagers and the young kids who have like the Gen Z mentality of like, this is funny, let's make a meme. And, you know, they make some really, really dark stuff and they put it out there to the general public, and it scares people. It scares people to death knowing that like you're like making these jokes about like this deadly disease that's actually taking lives, you know. And like I spoke with a friend of mine just on the previous call who was a corpsman, and he was like, you know, like we are seeing this stuff like mutate, and you know, like yes, it's serious and all, but we got to calm down. Like we got to remember like there's ways to prevent this, but you know, you got kids who are like, we're all gonna die, whatever. Like look at these memes, like look at this, look at this case, another confirmed case. It's like, yo.
Yeah, I think we just had like 7 confirmed cases today in Wisconsin. If I was reading up, I did a little bit more research on like Wisconsin before you called.
Yeah,
I think like 7 cases or something like that right before.
Is this total, or is this is just new as of today?
New as of today.
Oh wow. Okay, so it's definitely kind of like moving up. I mean, you guys are you're taking care of yourself, right? I would assume like you're doing pretty well. Yeah, you're not out there like touching your face and whatnot. You know, doing all that good stuff. Well, yeah, man.
We had 13 dead and 842 confirmed cases in Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh, it sounds so terrifying. But like knowing that there are also other, like that's happening in almost every other state. Well, actually, no, every state now. I believe West Virginia just got their first confirmed case.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, that's crazy, you know. But I mean, this whole thing, you know, it's just good to. I think it's good collectively to bring everyone, you know, at least everyone's getting different opinions, you know, we got someone from California, we got someone from North Carolina, now we got someone in Wisconsin, we got someone down from Texas, just talking about it, but knowing that it's kind of the same everywhere, that's good awareness, and that's good to know that we're kind of in this together, you know, so we can kind of just tell everyone to stop freaking out, you know.
Yeah, and so like that's like the thing too, like I find funny is like people aren't taking it like as serious as it should be, like all those kids that went down to Florida for spring break and like a bunch of them tested positive for it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's that young generation that's, look, I'm all about it. I'm down for a good Corona joke every now and then. That's fine.
Oh, yeah.
But like putting yourself and others in danger just in you know, like in spite of being young and being like, I can do this, is fine. Like, come on, man. What are you doing, man? Now you got coronavirus, dude.
Yep. And it's not even like for people, like the virus won't like affect everyone. Like sex affects people worse than like everyone else.
Yes, definitely.
So like it's not even like you're doing it for you. Like I'm doing it for like, I look at it, I could care less if I get sick. I'm healthy, I'm primed, I'm not gonna die from it most likely, but I look at it for like my parents or like my grandparents or older people in general.
Definitely, of course, dude. I mean, like, and it's the same thing for me. My father, you know, he's older, he has cancer right now, so being around him is just like, you gotta be careful, you know. Even like I get the whole spiel from my brothers as soon as I'm coming over to see dad. They're like, hey, look, if you've been around anybody who's coughing, who's sick, if you think you might have been, like, make sure you wash your hands, like make sure, you know, all this good stuff, because you're really putting loved ones at risk, man. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And like even speaking of, like on the meme part, like I seen a meme on Facebook and it said all these kids are still going out and acting like this thing isn't serious, but they're the ones getting their grandparents sick, and they're like, if the roles were flipped and it killed young people instead of old people,
the whole place would be on lockdown. You'd never see another person out in the street.
Yeah. And like they're like, your grandparents would do everything to like stop spreading that. They would stay at home, they wouldn't go out.
Yes. And the fact that we're not paying them back and at least doing the same as they would do for us, you know, that I bet that kind of hurts some people. So, you know, I feel it. You know, but I'm glad to hear that you are taking the right precautions and that everything's going okay, at least, you know, up there in Wisconsin, and that you're taking care of yourself, and, you know, you're practicing, you know, safe, good health etiquette, you know.
The basics. Yeah,
the basics, and that's exactly what it is. But yeah, man, you know, I'm really glad we could pull this information out of you. I know it was a quick call, and I mean, honestly, I felt like I haven't really. I mean, we texted stuff, but it's good to hear your voice, bro. It feels like it's been.
Same too.
It's been a long time, man. But you know, I'm glad to hear that everything's okay. You know, this is a good time for me to check up on all the homies, and then, you know, kind of, you know, this is your first time on the show, so, you know, being introduced. You know, if you do end up coming to Houston, like we spoke about, I'll definitely actually bring everything, and, you know, we'll get you on the show for real. So,
for sure.
Yeah, bro. Well, I'm really glad to hear everything's okay. We're going to cut this call out and I'm going to wrap up the show. But thanks. It's good talking to you, brother.
Good talking to you too, man.
All right, man. You take care.
All right, we'll do.
All right,
Bye.
Peace out. All right, guys, let's get serious for a second. As much as we love talking about the coronavirus and how crazy it is and wild it is, this is a wild time, and it is always good to just, look at each other and to each other for a little bit of guidance and enough time to just realize everything's going to be okay, and we just need to relax and take it one step at a time. But also, one important thing that we always like to talk about at the end of the show is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. That's 1-800-273-8255. Once again, it's 1-800-273-8255. Guys, there's a real person on the other side of this line. When you call it, someone's going to pick up, a real person, and they're going to listen to what you have to say. They're going to hear you out, and they're going to feel for you, and they're going to talk to you, and they're going to try to get you through whatever is going on that has brought you to this point. And, not only are they going to talk to you, but they're going to give you advice. They're going to give you resources, numbers to call, people to see, people to talk to help you out. With what's going on in the world, it's a crazy time. There's no doubt about it. It's wild. It makes people anxious, and you tend to get nervous, and your thoughts tend to run wild. So we definitely feel you. I feel you 100%. Please reach out to this line if you feel like you're ever getting pushed a little too close to the edge. Veterans out there, press 1 for the Veterans Crisis Line. When you dial this number, you will get in contact with someone who has veteran resources and veteran experiences to speak with you. So you're not just speaking blindly to someone who doesn't understand you. So, guys, make sure you do that. Shout out to all my boys who were on the show. Codie, Mike Camacho. I got to call you Camacho. Something saying your first name doesn't sound right. Grizzly Gray, the boy, and Jack Stowe. Thank you guys so much. It's really good to get information from you guys. Everyone else around the world and whoever's listening to this, I really hope you're taking care of yourself and just everything's going to be okay. Just got to keep smiling, keep pushing on. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Peace.